Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Henderson. I am the writer for the Bleed American musical, which includes songs and lyrics all by the band Jimmy Eat World. We're going to be starting our Kickstarter soon, and I thought people might have some questions or want to hear some things about the musical, so hopefully this helps. If you've been on the bleedamericanmusical.com website, you might have seen I did have on there the character breakdown. And so some people might be wondering about the characters. A few things that you might have noticed that you would have questions about is I did write all of the characters to be gender neutral, with a couple of characters me just stating the conception, what I conceived of the gender of that character. There should only be a couple on there who have that, but everybody else is gender neutral. And the reason why I did that is because it just didn't really matter what genders the characters were. It wasn't a big informer of how things played out for them. So I didn't want to worry about it, because once you put that on there, so once you decide somebody's male, female, or non-binary, or anything else, people can get stuck in that, and that's obviously totally fine. But in this case, it just didn't really matter. So I figured the best thing to do was, we'll just make them gender neutral, and their gender will just be whatever the actor's gender is. So whomever's playing the character can be whatever gender they are, or really whatever gender they kind of want it to be, honestly. So, and as somebody who's knows a lot of people who don't necessarily fall within the binary gender spectrum there, I thought it was important to just leave that as neutral as possible and let the actor inform the character that way for the gender. And that would probably affect how they would play the character, which I think it would be really cool and interesting. The other thing you might have noticed is that there are a few Korean names in there. That's actually for a pretty silly reason, I will say. If you've ever written anything with characters before, a novel or plays or anything, you might have had this experience where you don't necessarily have names right up front for the characters. And during this point of the pandemic, me and my apartment were in, we were watching a lot of K-pop videos, as well, I know we weren't the only ones, so don't blame me. Don't get mad at me. I don't know why you would. It's pretty good stuff. But so we were listening at the time of me deciding to use some placeholder names. There was a group called Enhypen, and that's who it was on, and it's a group of seven people, and so I was just like, just for fun, I was like, I'll just use some of their names. Here we go. Look, now the musical's all Enhypen people, and it was just a sort of a joke there, and just something that was helpful for me as a writer. But then I did get attached to a couple of the names that I thought just made sense for the characters there. Sunwoo and Heesung being the two prominent ones, and so it actually just made sense, and maybe those names helped inform the characters. Who knows? Sometimes weird stuff happens like that, and so that's why that's the case. But I am hoping is for anybody who would be directing this, or me obviously being a part of this, with a director, what I would want for the staging is some of that Korean influence within the setting, because this is set in the U.S. here. It's called Bleed American, so kind of there. But the idea would be that we also take things from other cultures. We get influenced by other cultures. So the idea is pre-climate disasters that Korean K-pop wave didn't necessarily stop. And so you might see like little bits and pieces of some Korean artist stuff. It'd probably be torn or worn or things like that, as the nature of all the disasters and things would ruin this stuff. But I would like that to be a little bit more of a part of it too there as well. So anyway, that's the fun story about the characters and the genders and things that you will see on there.